Hi there, I'm Garrett Goodell with G Squared Studio, a web development company based here in Sonoma County, and today I'm going to talk to you about calls to action, or CTAs. If you have a CTA on your website and it's working well for you, awesome. But if you don't, or you're currently building a website, or you're not really sure what your call to action on your website is, this would be a great video for you. So calls to action, why are they so important? This is the step that we're asking our client, potential client, or customer to take. This is the thing we want them to do next. They can be super simple, such as call me. Not necessarily the best call to action, but it could be that. It's better than nothing. Or it could be something more complex, like download our white paper on X, Y, and Z. Anything between those ranges is better than nothing. But let's talk about how we can make sure we have the right call to action for your business. So the first thing to do when you're trying to figure out your call to action is think about your client value journey. Think about the path, the road that you have people go down when they start to engage on doing business with you. What is the first step that they typically take? Quite often, for me, it's book a consultation. I do 10-minute consultations where I meet with my clients or potential clients to just see if we're a good fit. And I give them some tips and see how I can help them. That is my call to action. I want to get people to engage and book a consultation meeting with me. That is my first step. For others, it could be all the way to booking an appointment. If you're a hairdresser and you know that main step is book an appointment. That appointment could be a consultation, or they could just be already committed and they're just going to get full color and cut, whatever it is they want. It could also be call me. There's a lot of people that operate businesses still today and they mainly deal with phone, and that is absolutely fine. If you know that's the path you want your potential customers to take, suggest on your call to action or suggest on your website, call me. And make sure it's hyperlinked on the website so it's really easy for them to call you if they're on their mobile phone. So that is really how you want to start figuring out that call to action. Quite often, a lot of people just put this call to action on their website. Sign up for our newsletter. The reason this isn't necessarily the best call to action, especially if it's just sitting there kind of all by itself with no supporting content, why would someone do that? You want to make sure that your call to action is something that is low risk for your potential client or customer with a high payoff, a high reward. That's why quite often like free quote, like enter your information to get a free quote, is a really, really good call to action. There's very low risk. They just need to put in some information, and a really high reward. They're going to get a great perspective of how much that service could potentially cost them just by putting in some information. It also can really help your business as well, because it can save time on how long it takes you to figure out what that might cost. If they call you and you're doing all these questions over the phone and figuring out the numbers with them there, it can be a lot more cumbersome than if they were to give you all the information you needed on a form on your website. You took that information, came up with a quote, called them back with that quote a little bit after they reached out. That's a much better customer experience. And if something needs to get changed on the phone, then you can make those adjustments then, or be like, you know what, let me look into that and I'll get back to you. Still a much nicer, cleaner, smoother path for the customer to take than that initial call for some businesses. So let's go back to that newsletter. So how could we make that sign up for my monthly newsletter call to action more powerful? Well, first we could put some supporting content around it that talks about the value of this newsletter. A really great thing would be to do testimonials. Have some testimonials right there next to it of people talking about how amazing it is to be on this newsletter, how much value they get from it on a regular basis. So the main thing with a call to action is to make sure it's the first step that people could take, but then also to have some supporting content around it and make sure that it is a low risk, high reward for your potential client or customer, so they're more likely to engage, more likely to take that next step. So those are some main important features. Let's talk about the way it should look. Number one, if it's on your website, it should be above the fold. What that means is it is in the visible location on your website that will be seen as soon as someone lands there. Also, we really want to make sure we draw the eye to it. So we want to make sure it is a strong contrasting element. Quite often, call to action buttons, because typically they are buttons, will be their own unique color. It will be a color that really isn't used other places on the site. So the eye is drawn to this place, and this color will be quite often an eye-catching color that definitely stands out from the background and makes it easier for people to see and easy to draw their eye to it. So above the fold, bright contrasty color, and keep it short as well. We don't want a 2-sentence call to action. We want something that gets to the point. Another thing we can do to increase the potential of a call to action working is to put some time on it. This might sound a little cheesy, but saying book your appointment now or book your appointment today is more powerful than book your appointment. Book your appointment could just feel like, oh yeah, I'll do that tomorrow. But putting a little bit of time on it does have people process. Be like, oh, I should do that today, shouldn't I? I'm here, I'm on the site, it's right there. I might as well click and book. So, number one, figure it out. Make sure it's the right piece of the path, the beginning of the path. Number two, make sure it visually functions and works well. And number three is always keep in mind, anything done on a website can be changed. It's not permanent. And it's a really great idea for calls to action to do some A/B testing. Maybe run book your appointment now in red for a month, and then change it to, let's say, an orange, and say, book your appointment today, and see which one works better. Do some tests, see what works. And then through that process, you will hone this in. You will get better with your calls to action. This is not something that we just put it up there and forget about it. It should be something you're constantly thinking about in your business. How can I make it easier for people to start working with me? And how can I make that call to action work well so that those people are likely to take that next step? So those are the main tips on call to action. I hope this video was helpful. If you want any help with your call to action, here's my call to action. Please reach out to me, Garrett Goodell at G Squared Studio. We're located here in Sonoma County, and be happy to evaluate your current call to action and then go through some process of helping you potentially create a call to action that works better for your business, or if you don't have one currently, get you dialed in so you do have one that does work well for your business. Thank you so much. Appreciate your time. Have a great day.